Okay, there we go. Okay, so fraction rules. Rule number 1 was the multiplication rule that we did. Multiplication of fractions, if I say A over B times C over D, we go straight. That's AC over BD. Okay, we can only cross cancel over a multiplication sign. So there's going to be a huge difference now between cross canceling and cross multiplying. Okay, and let's go through that. So cross canceling, and we can, when do we do cross canceling? Only over only over multiplication. We cannot do this with equal to, we cannot do this with division. It has to be multiplication. We go straight for multiplication. We're going to get a very huge number, and we can cross cancel. And we just went through that example. We said 5 over 16 times 4 over 15. 5 goes there once, 5 goes there 3 times, 4 goes there 4 times, 4 goes there once. That simplified the fraction, and then we went straight and we got 1 over 12. Okay, so when do we cross cancel? Only over multiplication. The second one is division. For division of fractions, okay, so division of fractions, A over B divided by C over D, right? This is what we KFC, isn't it? K is for keep. And what are we keeping? We're keeping the first fraction. Keep the first fraction. So we just bring the AB down, A over B. F is for flip. Sorry. F, flip the second fraction. So this is C over D. We're going to flip it. We're going to make it D over C. And C is for change. Okay, so we're changing the sign. Change the sign. Okay, KFC. Keep, flip, change. Keep the first fraction. Flip the second fraction. Change division to multiplication. All right. And now that we got it in multiplication, all these rules apply. We can cross cancel. We can go straight. Okay, so cross cancel and then go straight, just the way we did here. Okay, so quite simple. As long as you flip the second fraction and change the sign, you have now a multiplication of fractions question, and then these rules will apply. All right. Okay, so the second part is addition or subtraction. So we can write addition and subtraction as one rule. Subtraction. Okay, so we can put addition or subtraction as one rule, simply because it doesn't matter whether there's addition or subtraction, the rule will be the same. We need to get an LCD. Okay, LCD, lowest common denominator. So we cannot add fractions with different denominators. I think this is the first rule we learned about fractions. If we had A over B and we're adding or subtracting C over D, that's going to be, we'll take this denominator and multiply them together. So we'll get BD here and BD here, isn't it? Then I times this by D. I've got to do the same to the numerator. Whatever I do to my denominator, I do the same to the numerator. So I multiply the denominator by d. I've got to multiply the numerator by d. I multiply the denominator by b. I've got to multiply the numerator by b. So that's giving me a d. And here I'm going to have c b. As long as I did this, it's going to be fine. You put a plus in between. And remember, now that the denominators are the same, we can add them. And in this case, adding them means to put them in one fraction. That's going to be there. Okay. So whether this was addition or subtraction doesn't really matter. The rule here is to find an LCD, lowest common denominator. Sometimes, most of the time, well, I can't say most of the time, but sometimes we have to multiply them like this. Sometimes we can multiply one side only. If I had 1 over 2 plus 3 over 4, I can see 4 and 2 have a relationship going here, isn't it? 4 times 2, 2 times 2 is going to give me 4. So I just times this side by 2 and I'll get the same denominator. And remember, that is why we say we need the lowest common denominator. And it sometimes is not necessary to multiply both sides. Okay, so please don't forget that when we put x's and y's and all that in between. Okay, so remember these rules. Okay, and then the last one is an equation, right? So if I had A over B is equal to C over D, if they are equal, then we can cross multiply. Okay, so this is where kids get really confused with fractions because it's so easy to A over B times C over D. It's so easy to mistake cross multiplication, which we do when there's an equal to sign in between, and mix that up with cross canceling, which we do when there's a multiplication sign in between. So we know what cross canceling is because we've just explained it just now. But now we're having a equal to sign in between, then we do cross multiplication. Okay, so we cross multiplying. We're going to say A times D, and that's going to give me AD. B times C, and that's going to give me BC. Okay, so cross multiplication, equal to sign, cross canceling, multiplication sign. This is so important. Do not mix them up, okay? When we're multiplying, we don't cross multiply. When we see the cross here, it's very easy to mistake in these two rules. We go straight. A times C, B times D, okay? And for example, for this would be 1 over 2 is equal to 2 over 4. This is a true statement. If they are equal, then this should also be true. 1 times 4 is equal to 2 times 2. That is correct. 2 times 2. That is correct because here we're getting 4 and here we're getting 4. So this will hold.